Hi, I'm Cheryl, one half of a couple who travels. In today's video, I want to highlight a trip we recently took to Gold Canyon, Arizona. We have some friends who snowbird out there, and we try to visit them at least once a year. So we went out there the first week of February 2024, and the weather was not the best. We ended up doing some different activities than we normally would have done. It was a lot of rain in the forecast, which, as you know, it doesn't usually rain in Arizona. That's why they call it the desert. But we made the best of it, and I have a lot of highlights that I'd like to share with you on some cool things that we did. They live in a community that's for 55 and up, and in that community they have a community center and recreation area. They do a lot of pickleball, and they have tennis, a pool, and some other things there that we were able to take advantage of. When we go visit them, they are in the foothills, I guess you could say, of the Superstition Mountains. And so we do a lot of hiking while we're out there, and we sort of jokingly say that when we go out there, we're going out to boot camp, because they are very, very active people, and they usually kick our butts, and we come back sore but filled with wonderful memories. On our first day, we took a hike at Eagle Rock, which is near their home. It was great to get out and stretch our legs after a 4-hour flight from Detroit to Phoenix. And I brought this really cheap portable camera to take along to take some videos. And as you will see throughout this video, the camera was pretty crappy, and I ended up returning it once we got home. But I was able to capture some footage. It's probably not the best. So I'm hoping to share those throughout this video.
Hi. Hey guys, say hello. Say hello. Hello.
After the Eagle Rock hike, we headed over to the pool and went to the hot tub there. It has this beautiful view of the Superstition Mountains that is just gorgeous, especially towards sunset. While we were there, it was difficult to book a tea time. We like to golf with our friends when we're out there because the weather was so unpredictable, and the Phoenix Open was in Phoenix that weekend. So between that and I think they had a Renaissance Festival thing going, it was really difficult to get a tea time. So we sort of planned some activities to dodge the rain showers. We also did not want to go hiking when it was wet, because the rocks get really slippery, and so we really tried to strategically place all of our outings. On our first full day, the next hike we took was to Silly Mountain, which is on the back side of the Superstition Mountains and is very, I'll say, difficult to get to. It's a dirt road that I know they say floods when it rains, and so we were really conscious of that and wanted to make sure that we got the hike in before any rain came, because we didn't want to be stuck out there. We hiked about 3.2 miles in a loop, and we started at the Silly Mountain trailhead. At some point, we took a wrong turn, and we ended up with only a 298-foot elevation gain because we sort of ended up walking parallel to the highway. But it was a lot of great exercise, and it was great to just get outside. We filled our other time with pickleball, riding on their golf cart, and doing some neighborhood walks. We did get to golf at Sunland Village East golf course. It's a pretty nice course, but I would say it wasn't very challenging. I had a really good score, which tells you right there that it wasn't a very challenging golf course. Midweek, we hiked the Second Water Trail. It's a loop trail near Dutchman's Trailhead. The route we took was 4.37 miles with a 1,149-foot elevation gain. It was interesting because some of the parts of the trail were really hilly, and then other parts would be super flat. It was really kind of interesting. At some point, we were walking near a valley, and the trail would be right along, as you could see, way down, and we traversed through part of a riverbed as well. Parts of it had water in it, and parts of it did not, which is actually quite unusual for Arizona. They normally don't have water in these mountain areas. The next hike we took was to Wedding Cake, which started at the Hieroglyphic Trailhead and followed the Lost Gold Mine Trail. We hiked this trail prior on another visit, so we were familiar with it. And during our hike, we encountered a few cows that were grazing. The farmers had bought some grazing rights to the area, and their cattle were out there. We also saw a calf, and so we stopped and we were very careful to make sure we did not upset Mama or Daddy and their calf, and then we continued on. After about a mile or so into the hike, we headed north off trail to get to the base of the wedding cake. The trail gets a little tricky at the top, and you have to do some rock climbing. Some of the rocks near the top were a little wet, and it's sort of a shale-like set of rocks, and so there's a lot of loose rock, and it's sort of rolly. It's hard to get a good footing, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And then when you get up towards the top, you sort of go around, and there's some rocks that you do have to climb over to get to the very top. On the way down, we had a run-in with the cactus. I stepped on a cactus, and it was making it very difficult to come down the mountain because it was making the bottom of my hiking boot very slippery. So my husband attempted to help me get it off and ended up getting pretty well stuck with a cactus himself. This was a 3.71 out and back hike with a 1,098 foot elevation gain, and it's located right next to the other mountain called Turk's Cap. We took a picture of that as well while we were up there. On our last day, we did a 4-person Razor UTV, which is a utility terrain vehicle rental. We rented from a place called Superior UTV Rentals in Superior, Arizona, and met up with some folks who own their own UTV vehicles. They have trails throughout the mountains and in that area, and the people we met up with ride out there all the time. So we headed out around 10 a.m., and our first stop was at the Ajax Mineral Mine. I guess this mine has been known to house amethyst in their natural state. We looked and we did not find any while we were there, but it was still pretty cool to see. After that, we got back on the trails and stopped for lunch at an old stagecoach stop. It was pretty cool to see the remains of the structure and the area around it. There were still some like pieces of a well and some walls and a fireplace that were still there. After that, back on the trail, which was actually the stagecoach route through Box Canyon. Not too far down the trail, we stopped because we saw several bighorn sheep. So we watched them and took some videos and things like that. But it was pretty amazing to watch them. They were not intimidated by us at all, and were actually pretty aggressive at one point. The canyon itself is so beautiful and something we consider a must-see if you're going to be out there. It can be a little pricey. I think it cost us about maybe $500 or so to rent the UTV for the day, but it was so worth it. It's you get to places it's hard to get to on foot, and you can cover a lot of terrain. We needed to get our rental back by 4 o'clock, so we started our way back towards Superior. Along that route, we stopped to look at this diseased saguaro cactus. The disease is what makes the top look like that, all deformed. It actually looks pretty intricate, and it was pretty cool to see. This part of the trailhead had some challenging spots to climb in the vehicle, and we made it up, but some of those I wasn't really sure. There's a waterfall area that a lot of people got, I don't want to say stuck on, but had to try multiple times to make over the top. Back on the trail, and our last stop was at a place called Granny's Pass. It's a beautiful place, and the view up there you can see for miles. Pictures just don't capture how gorgeous this place really is. One particular part is a makeshift graveyard that has memorials set up, and there are stones and artifacts that honor each person. I was told that many people come up there to spread the ashes of their loved one because it was a favorite spot for them because of how beautiful it really is up there. The whole trip was 6 hours and 40 miles, and it certainly was the highlight of our week. As you can see, it gets a bit muddy out there, but if you know what is going to happen going in and you dress properly, it's really no big deal. Just keep your mouth closed. Heading back, we stopped for a cold one at Porter's Bar in downtown Superior. It was a great trip for us. We met new friends, got to spend time with some old friends, and as you can see, we had a really good time doing a lot of recreational items. So now you know what to do when you go to Gold Canyon.